What's the most deceived you felt by a recruiter's promise? Mine happened when Sergeant Mike told me I'd be working with satellites and computers in the Air Force Space Command. I was 18, fresh out of high school, obsessed with technology, spent my free time building computers and learning programming. When I walked into that recruiting office, Mike's eyes lit up like Christmas morning. Perfect timing, he said. We desperately need smart kids like you for our cyber warfare division. You'll be working with cutting-edge satellite technology, defending America's space assets from foreign hackers. He showed me glossy brochures filled with pictures of clean control rooms, soldiers in lab coats staring at multiple computer screens, high-tech equipment worth millions of dollars. This is where you'll be stationed, he promised. Peterson Air Force Base in Colorado Springs. The job sounded incredible. Starting salary equivalent to $60,000 civilian pay when you factor in benefits. Guaranteed training on systems that would make me incredibly valuable in the private sector after my service. Security clearance that opens doors everywhere. Sign here, Mike said, sliding the contract across his desk. Your future starts today. Boot camp was exactly what I expected. Tough, but manageable. The whole time I'm thinking about those computer labs waiting for me. Advanced training was supposed to be 6 months of intensive cybersecurity education. Instead, I got assigned to something called General Military Training. When I asked about the cyber warfare program, my instructor just laughed. Son, there's no cyber program for new recruits. You're infantry now. I pulled out my contract, showed him the job code Mike had written down. The instructor squinted at it, then shook his head. This says 11B. That's infantry, not cyber anything. Your recruiter played you. Turns out Mike had written down completely different job codes than what we'd discussed. Instead of working with satellites, I'd be carrying a rifle through desert training exercises. Instead of defending space assets, I'd be learning how to dig foxholes. I tried calling Mike to straighten out the confusion. His phone went straight to voicemail for 2 weeks. Finally reached the recruiting office and they told me he'd been transferred to a different state. My new reality hit during advanced individual training. 16-week infantry course in Georgia. Learning urban warfare tactics, weapons maintenance, and combat maneuvers. Nothing even remotely related to computers or technology. The worst part was meeting other guys who'd gotten the same treatment. Danny from Ohio was promised aircraft maintenance, ended up infantry. Kevin from Texas was told he'd be working on helicopter engines, also infantry. We started comparing our recruiting experiences. Every single one of us had been promised technical jobs that didn't exist for new enlistees. The recruiters had quotas to fill for infantry positions, so they just told everyone what they wanted to hear. 6 months later, I'm deployed to Afghanistan carrying 70 pounds of gear through mountain villages, using my high-tech computer skills to count ammunition and clean weapons. The closest I got to advanced technology was a handheld GPS unit. My squad leader noticed I was pretty good with electronics, asked about my background. When I told him about the recruiting promises, he wasn't surprised. Happens all the time, he said. They'll tell you anything to get those signatures. But here's where the story gets interesting. 3 months into deployment, our communications equipment kept malfunctioning. Radio systems failing during critical operations. Nobody could figure out why. I started troubleshooting in my spare time, applying the computer knowledge I'd learned before enlisting. Discovered the problem was electromagnetic interference from nearby cell towers that local contractors had installed. Fixed it by rerouting our antenna arrays and adjusting frequency ranges. Took me 2 days of work that the official tech support guys couldn't solve in 2 months. Word got back to command. Within a week, I was reassigned to the communications unit as their unofficial IT specialist. Still technically infantry, but now doing exactly what Mike had originally promised. Turns out the military had cyber warfare positions, just not for new recruits. You had to prove yourself first, earn their trust, show you could handle responsibility under pressure. Last month, I got out of the service with 6 years of hands-on experience fixing military communications systems. Applied for a job with a defense contractor doing satellite maintenance. During the interview, they asked about my background. When I mentioned fixing radio interference in Afghanistan, the hiring manager's face changed completely. You solved the Kandahar frequency problem? That issue stumped our engineers for months. We studied your solution in our training seminars. I start Monday. Same job Mike promised me 5 years ago, just took a longer route to get there. The pay is exactly what he said it would be, plus the security clearance I earned downrange.